Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Cricket. On this episode, I'm going to show you how I make my homemade chili. My good friend Cindy has been requesting that I make it. So, we're going to do it again with my webcam because right now my video camera is messed up. So, uh, if you saw the Brussels sprout video, you'll notice that it was real shaky. But now I'm just recording from my regular webcam. But to do those other shots, I have this portable little webcam that can be moved around. And my husband kept getting so tickled having to stand there and hold this. And that's why it would shake sometimes. But you gotta do what you gotta do and get by with. So I'm thankful for this and to be able to do it. So let's get started. All right, I'm going to tell you what all I do put in my chili. I use 2 pounds of ground beef, 4 ounces of mild sausage, one medium onion finely chopped, one green bell pepper finely chopped. That's about a third of a cup if you're using the frozen. I use a tablespoon of minced garlic. Optional if I have it. One jalapeno pepper. That's about a tablespoon finely chopped. I use one 28-ounce can of the petite diced tomatoes, or you can use the crushed tomatoes or the whole tomatoes. I use either two 29-ounce cans of tomato sauce or five of the regular size cans of tomato sauce, 3 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I use kosher salt, half teaspoon of black pepper, a half teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley flakes, 1 teaspoon of paprika, half teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of Louisiana hot sauce, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and if you have it, that's great. But if you don't go out and buy it. But when you go to the barbecue houses, some of them that has the mustard vinegar sauce that you put in your Brunswick stew or whatever, we go buy bottles of that, and I do add a half teaspoon of that to it, but that's optional. And then I add 2 cans of red beans that I've drained and rinsed, or you can use pinto beans. Sometimes I use pinto beans or kidney beans. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and chop up my onion and my bell pepper and my garlic and my tomatoes. You do not have to do this. I like to put my onion and bell pepper and all in my food processor and get it finely chopped. And I like to do, I'm going to be using a 28-ounce can of the petite diced tomatoes. You can use the crushed tomatoes or whole tomatoes. If you don't have a food processor, you can put it in your blender, or you can totally skip this step. When I eat chili, I just basically like to see the beans and the meat. I don't like to just pick up a big old piece of tomato and eat it, and my kids didn't like it that way either. So if you chop it all up, they don't know it's in there, but it tastes real good. So you're going to need one onion, you can just finely dice up your onion if you don't want to do this part. And then most of the time I just buy the frozen chopped green beans. Most of the time I just buy the frozen chopped green bell peppers. If I don't have them fresh, if I just buy the green peppers, about 1 pepper would be good. If you're using it out of this bag, around one third to 1/2 cup. Just take it out and let it thaw a little bit. And also you can buy your onions this way frozen. I'm using one heaping tablespoon of minced garlic, and this is what I buy. It's a whole lot easier in the jar, and this has a different taste than garlic powder. If you don't have the minced garlic, don't add that much of garlic powder. I would add maybe a half a teaspoon. But, you know, real garlic is a whole lot better and has a whole lot different flavor. And I might even add a little bit more. We love garlic here. Once I get it all chopped up, then I put it in a separate bowl. I'm actually chopping mine ahead of time. I'll put it in a bowl, cover it up, and keep it in the refrigerator till I'm ready to use it. And then I don't even rinse this out because it's all going to the same pot of chili. Then I add my tomatoes in there and blend them up for a minute. Like I say, you don't have to do this. I just like to do it this way, and my kids liked it better. Just a little bit, and I will put this in a bowl, seal it up, keep it in my refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. And I'll meet you at the stove. In my pan, and I just brown my ground beef in the same pan that I'm going to cook my chili in. I have 2 pounds of ground beef and 4 ounces of mild sausage. I buy my sausage in the 8-ounce tubes. I just cut it in half, put the other half in a freezer bag, and freeze it. And if you'll notice that some of my ground beef looks different than the other, one pack is organic and the other pack is regular. It was what was on sale. And that's what my husband got. I will fry up my ground beef on medium heat. I do not fry it up on high heat. That way you can get in there and really chop it up real good. So I'll be back in just a minute. I've browned up my ground beef and my sausage, and I drained the fat. So while still over medium heat, we're going to add our onions, bell pepper, and garlic, and let that cook for about a minute. After that's cooked for about a minute, we're going to add our tomatoes. Give that a stir. And then I'm going to start adding in my tomato sauce. And you're going to need to add around 3 cups of water. But really what I do is just fill up 3 of these cans. So now we're going to add our chili powder, red pepper flakes. I use kosher salt, black pepper, paprika, dried parsley flakes, and cumin, ground cumin. If you don't want to go out and buy ground cumin just for this, you know, that's fine. But it does give it that kind of woodsy taste, as my mom says. But don't go overboard on that, because that can be some powerful stuff. Then I'm adding some Louisiana hot sauce, 2 teaspoons. And then I will add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I know I'm not saying it right, but it's that. Shake it up real good. And a little bit extra doesn't hurt. And this is what I was talking about, the kind of vinegar mustard barbecue sauce. I add about a half teaspoon to a full teaspoon of this. Now you don't want to check it for the seasonings right now, because this really needs to cook for a little while before you test it for salt, and you will need more salt. I don't cook with that much salt, and but you will need to add more salt. Now when I get it to this point, I know this is a lot of chili, but my kids do not like the beans in it, and you don't even have to add beans to it. So I'm going to take half of this out, put it in another pan to simmer, and then I'll be back to add the beans. Nope.
Watch out.
See, half my chili disappeared. But I'm going to be adding 2 cans of red beans. These are 15.5 ounce cans. I will drain them and rinse them before I add them in. And you can use pinto beans, kidney beans, whatever you like. Just put your beans in a colander and drain them and rinse them and add them in. And then I will cover this up and let it simmer for a couple of hours. You know, really everything's kind of done, but it does need to simmer for a little while. Let all the flavors come together. But we'll be back in a couple of hours when it's time for dinner. Our chili is done. I let mine simmer for a couple of hours. You don't even have to let yours simmer that long. I like to put cheese on mine, and I also make cornbread, and I crumble up my cornbread and put it in there. If you have any left over, let it cool down, put it in a freezer-proof bowl, and freeze it. And then you have a meal ready for another night. But I hope you enjoy.
By the way, Mom, this chili is amazing.
Just remember, everybody eats,